Hello YouTube artists, I'm Callie Hernig and welcome to In the Studio. Today I'm sharing 5 weird colors. It's been over a year since I did this and I just bought some new Holbein granulating colors. I thought it would be a fun way to share them with you. So let me introduce you to the colors. Again, these are Holbein or HWC. The first one is Cherry Blossom Pink. The next one is Trumpet Vine Red, Bork's Parrot Pink, Gray of Gray, and Verditer Blue. Now this blue is really a strange blue for me, so I'm interested to see what happens with all these pinks. I'm hoping we get a bunch of beautiful lavenders. I'm using a handmade sketchbook with Fabriano cold press studio paper in it. I am using my favorite palette. This is the back side of it. The front side looks like this, but the back side looks like this. And here is the colors. This is the Cherry Blossom Pink. This is the Trumpet Vine Red. This is the Bork's Parrot Pink, the Gray of Gray, and the Verditer Blue. So I've got those on there so that we know what we're doing, and that way I can show you the mixing as we go along. I'm going to be using my Princeton Aqua Elite Long Round brush, the number 8. It's got a nice point on it so I can easily get into the squares. I'm also going to be splashing this color chart because 3 of these colors are granulating and I want to make sure that we take advantage of that. So granulation works best whenever there's water to help the granulation pull out and move and stuff like that. So let me show you the little sheet here that I have. So this is the Cherry Blossom Pink. You can see all the little granulation. This is the Trumpet Vine Red. I love the bright yellow in there. This is the Bork's Parrot Pink. Now, if you like opera pink, I would imagine you're gonna love this color. I bought this to do as underpaintings because of the brightness. This is Verditer Blue. See the striking, isn't it? Just like a very strong color, but very clear. And this is Gray of Gray. I'm always looking for that perfect muting color, and to me, it's just a bluer version of buff titanium, so I want to see how that works. I've got these squares drawn at 1.5 by 1 inch so that we can really explore their color. The first color is Cherry Blossom, so it's just Cherry Blossom and Cherry Blossom. So this color I really like because it's like a, it's more of a mauve-y color. And I don't really have a dirty pink like this. So I was really intrigued by the color, but then knowing it granulates, that was even cooler. I try to get it deeper in one corner than the other so that we have like a little bit of color variation, even though I am going to splash it. Isn't that already a different pink, right? I like that a lot. I don't have one this dusty. Maybe in my Kiritaki set, but not in the Holbein. The next one is Trumpet Vine. So on this line, I want to have it more Cherry Blossom Pink than any other color. So I want it to still have this like mauve undertone. So I'm going to dip my brush just into the Trumpet Vine Red and just watch the color change a little bit. Ooh, that's pretty. Did you see the tone even changed a little bit? Now let's see, we should have it, should look a little different on here, and it does. It's a little brighter in color. You can see it's got like a little oranger cast to it, and that's exactly what I'm looking for. But yet it still feels like that color. That's a pretty color. Okay, I'm gonna splash. Now the Bork's Parrot Red is next. So I'm going to add some of that cherry blossom and just touch a little bit of that Borks because it's really bright. You can see it's like almost fluorescent in color. And I'm going to have to pick up a little more cherry blossom for that to like dull the color down. Yep, see that that's a little brighter than that? That's exactly what I want. And you can see the pen I used was not waterproof. I will be splashing these, but not showing you that every time. Okay, the next color is Gray of Gray. That's this color here. I think it's really a pretty color. So I'm going to start with Cherry Blossom. And I'm hoping that gray just makes it a little bit more violet. We'll see. Oh yeah, it muted that really nice. I need a little more Cherry Blossom. Okay, let me test it. I'm looking the difference here, and this definitely has a gray tone to it. And this is the color I bought to really kind of mute everything, to turn it to a more vintage color. And you can see between this color and this color, it's got that subtle, like dirty hue to it. To me, it's like a duskier color. And that is more vintage to my liking. Wow, is that pretty? Now comes this really strong blue color, this Verditor. I'm not sure what this is going to do to the colors, but I was interested in seeing what this would do to the palette. So I'm just going to touch the tiniest bit in here. Oh yeah, that gave it a really, do you see the purple of it? That's real, and look how different it is than all these. Oh yeah, that's pretty. I have seen a couple people use this Verditor online and YouTube, and it was one of those colors that I know it's not a color that I normally would pick because of the brightness of it, but I liked what people were doing with it. I thought it was a different color that I could add to my palette, which is why it's one of these weird colors. Okay, so you can see that this is the Cherry Blossom color. And every color so far has kind of taken on that tone. And so we've got a really great line. Notice that I didn't let the Verditor blue turn it to blue. I left it so that it was just another color of pink here. Now we're moving on to Trumpet Vine Red, which is a lot brighter. So that is this color here. And to me, this is like a oranger red. Think of like a tomato color or a Christmas red. That's kind of how I look at that. So Trumpet Vine and Trumpet Vine are right here. So that's the true color. I like to do the true color first, just so that I can compare it to any other color that I'm making. Just like we did the Cherry Blossom. I'm going to touch a little bit more of that true color there into the corner to kind of get it a little darker. There we go. I've got a lot of water in here. So now we're going to use Trumpet Vine and Cherry Blossom. Now I want it to stay to this kind of red-orange color. And that's what makes my color wheels different than everyone else's, is I don't just mix them half and half. I want them to take on the color of the line that is over here. So whatever color is here, that's what I want the line to represent. So I've got Trumpet Vine here, and I'm going to add a little bit of the Cherry Blossom. It should just mute it. Oh yeah, look at that. And it needs to be different than the Cherry Blossom plus Trumpet Vine. So let's see, it's much different. It's a little thick, so I'm adding a little water. The cherry blossom color is definitely a thicker color. It looks a little different. It's just a little more on the orange pink, but I can tell that it's a lot thicker, so it doesn't have as much transparency by adding that cherry blossom pink. Okay, we're gonna do trumpet now and Bork's pink. This should be interesting. It should brighten it a little bit because of that Bork's pink is so bright. Whoa, I added too much Bork. That might be it. Let's see. Again, I just want it to be brighter than this. Yep. There's not much difference, but to me, I can see that it's a brighter tone. As I am doing each color too, I am kind of asking myself, what would I use this for? What would this be great for? And for me, red is fall leaves, but it's also garden. So think of tulips, think of poppies. This would be a great poppy color, actually. Think of tomatoes. Okay, now we've got gray of gray. I don't know what's going to happen with this color in gray. Let's have a look. Touch a bit of just a tiny touch there. Let's watch it change. Definitely, look at that. All right, let's add just a little bit more. Oh yeah, see how it muted it down? That's really pretty. And this is what I think of for vintage colors, right? I think of just it getting dustier. You can see there's the real color and this is the gray of gray color mixed with it. So it took down the intensity, the vibrancy, but created a lovely color. Wow. Okay, our last color with this trumpet vine is Verditer Blue. So I wonder what kind of purple this is gonna make. Let's just take the tiniest touch here. Oh wow, that's beautiful. Still on the red side. That's all I'm concerned about. Okay, so you can see that line. Let me tilt this up. You can see that, remember, this is the true color here. So every color is just a little bit different, but look at all the variety that you get to make with these colors. I really like these two lighter ones. Just like up here, I really like what the Bork's pink did to that one. It just brightened it enough to make it more like a shell pink kind of, but I'm loving the colors so far. I didn't think that I would have that much difference already in the colors because they seemed kind of similar. And the next one is Bork's Parrot Pink, and this is the really bright one. This is the one that really made me want to buy it because of the separation of this color. The intensity is crazy here. And you're like, Kelly, this doesn't even look like a color you would choose, right? I know, but I was just totally impressed by the almost fluorescent quality of this. So we're going with Bork's and Bork's. So the 100% color first so that I have something to judge it off of when mixing. And let me know in the comments what you would use this for. This color is so intense. All I can think of is flamingos. Isn't that funny? All right. So now we're going to add cherry blossom to it. So you know what's going to happen, right? Is it's just going to become quite dull. So let me touch a little of the cherry blossom into it. See, it took away that brightness. It just dulled it down right away. I need a little bit more water. Remember, cherry blossom is an opaque color. And you can see there's a big difference there. I can almost feel it too because of that cherry blossom being such a thick color. It doesn't just glide on. That's lovely. Okay, now we have the Bork's parrot here and the trumpet vine. So I think it's gonna just make it redder, but probably will dull the fluorescentness of it too. Yep, there you go. So I need a little bit more Bork's. So I want it to be different than that one. And I think right now it is. Let's check it out. Yes. See how it's just got a more redder tone and it's not as fluorescent. The fluorescence is still there, but it's not as bright as that one. It's a little duller. I don't know if you can see it, but the yellow is showing up in there. It's beautiful. Now, what do you think is going to happen with the gray of gray, right? Let's have a check on this. Okay, just the tiniest of touch. Let's watch it change. You ready? Ooh, yeah. Softer, but still nice and bright. I like that. So that's the difference there. Let's check it right next to it, and you can see that it's not as bright, but it's still a lovely pink. It's more of kind of a lipstick pink. It's funny. What's interesting is, I don't know if you're seeing the color separation here of this color. The trumpet vine has a lot more yellow, where the Bork has yellow and really bright pink. So you're getting all of these little splashes with the water. It's really, really lovely. I can't wait to see when these dry. Now, if I wasn't splashing, I wouldn't have the effect of them separating as much, because the water is what makes it, think of like sand on the bottom or like salt on the bottom of something. So when you add water, it kind of moves around slowly like this and deposits into the texture of the paper. That's why I like using cold press paper for this, so that you can really see the granulation. If I was using hot press, you wouldn't see it as well. And I don't know that you would really see it at all, because there's nowhere for that granulation, that little piece of salt, think about it. There's nowhere for that to kind of land and have the water wash over it without it just like pushing it to the edge of something. So it's real important when you're using granulating colors that you give it a lot of water for movement. Okay, the next one is with Verditer. I'm excited about what this is going to do to this color. Let's have a look. Okay. Ooh, it muddied it up. Let's see if this is a nice color. I think I want just a touch more Verditer. Okay, that did it. I gave it just a little push to the darker red area. With the Verditer, I'm kind of looking for a shadow color for the original color. I want you to just look so far. I mean, you can see the differences of the colors, and this is shocking me almost. I didn't expect to see all those varieties. That's really lovely just right there. I can't wait to see what happens with the gray of gray line and the Verditer blue. This is going to be interesting. So I'm just picking up gray of gray now, and gray of gray is a thicker color as well, just like that cherry blossom. It's going to require a little bit more water. There we go. So we got gray of gray and gray of gray. And you can see this is definitely not a neutral gray. It's definitely got some blue to it. And it's still very thick. I could have watered it down more. So now I want it to stay on this gray line. So anything that we do, we want it to be different than these colors, because that's the colors mixed with the gray of gray here. So I want to make sure that it appears gray first with just a little hint of those colors. So we've got cherry blossom pink that I need to add to that. And I just want this gray to change to a more pink color. Still on the gray line though. There we go. I need a little bit more water. Okay. And I know this color is different than that color right there. So you can see when I spread it out that it's got a hint of pink in it. That is all I'm looking for. This almost feels like a dusty violet. It's beautiful. Okay, we're going to Trumpet Vine Red. Because the gray is so thick, you can see it's taking me a little bit more color. Let's water it down a little bit. Just a little bit more, I think. There we go. I want to make sure it's different than that one. And it definitely is. So what would you use all these grays for? I'm thinking of a winter scene. Wouldn't that be beautiful with like the winter mountains, the winter trees? It feels cold. Lovely. Now we're going to go on to this Bork. Let's see what happens there. It's got to just be different than that. And it should be the brightest of these three colors because of the intensity here. Oh yeah. Now with the Verditor, I'm thinking that this will just lighten it. We'll just have a little bit, let's take a little bit of that in there. And I'm hoping for a really soft blue. Yeah, look at that. That's beautiful. It's a softer blue, but for this I can think of cloudy skies. This is really pretty. I like that for a winter sky, but this is a nice winter area as well, winter color. This would be great like for bluebells in the garden, cornflowers. Can you believe the colors of that, right? I mean, look at that's the original color there. And then you've got all of these lovely values from all of those pinks. This is why I love color charts, because they just show you the possibilities that maybe you didn't know were there. You know, I'm shocked with all the different pinks I'm getting. So this is just Verditor on itself. So Verditor and Verditor here on the bottom. It's a pretty transparent color, which is nice. It goes on really light and gliding, not like that gray of gray. It's a little stiffer. How would you describe this blue? You know, it's like it's almost like a true blue color, right? I mean, it's pretty intense. It's like a really clear color. I don't know if you understand that, but it's like it's not dull. It's very bright, but it's very rich in its own tone. You know, it doesn't have like any dirtiness to it. It's just very clear and vibrant. I can't even think of another color like that where it has that just true color. Okay, we're going with Verditor and Cherry Blossom Pink. I want it to stay on the blue side. So you can see I had too much of the Cherry Blossom there. Oh yeah, look at that. So it needs to be different than that one. And it definitely is, because remember, I want it on the blue side. This is a lovely color here. It almost created its own lavender, but a little more on the blue side than the violet. Okay, we've got Verditor and Trumpet Vine Red. I know I picked up too much red there. I'm like, what am I doing? Okay, that's like a darker gray. I like that color. It's different than that one. You can see the difference between these two because this is a redder color. Now the complement of blue is orange, so you're going to get something grayer. And remember, this trumpet vine is that color. So it's got a lot of orange to it. So that's why it's not as intense as that color over there. And that's why it turned to a little bit more gray. Okay, now we've got Verditor and Bork's Pink Tulip, Parrot Pink. This is going to be an interesting one. yellow. Ooh, look at that pretty purple that it made. Now I need it to be more on the blue side, but that's a lovely purple. All right, let's check that out. It's got to be different than that one, and it is. It'll be magical if some of the undertones of that color come out, like in there. That's also why I picked these two grays, is they're not the granulating colors, the pinks are. So it's nice to see if the colors will granulate with plainer colors, because that makes your paints more interesting, at least to me anyways. I like to see the granulation. That is a beautiful color. I've probably said that about everyone so far. Okay, we got Verditer and Gray of Grays. So I just want it to dull that gray. Dull that blue to a lighter value. There we go. So it's got to be different than this one. Let's check. Yes, it's more blue than that one. Okay, when using granulating colors or doing a color chart like this, I like to let mine dry naturally, because remember, water is what moves all that granulation, and I don't want to quickly dry it with a blow dryer, because that can stop the water and it can stop it from separating like that. I want to give it plenty of time. So when this is dry, I will come back and give you a close-up on these colors, but I can say this is a very exciting palette. It's something different for me, but I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. Before I share with you the finished project, I want to make sure that you know that this is Cherry Blossom Pink, this is Trumpet Vine Red, this is Bork's Parrot Pink, this is Gray of Gray, and this is Verditer Blue. And all of these colors are from Holbein or HWC. My colors are dry, and oh my goodness, you guys, I want you to just think about how you would use these colors, and please leave in the comments what you would use these for. They are really amazing, and I have to say that I'm really impressed with the Gray of Gray line with all of these pinks. So let me bring you up for a closer look, and I want you to pay attention to the granulation. I mean, look at those colors. Aren't they amazing? Do you see them separating into the two different colors? So the cherry blossom up here, you can see that it gives you like a little darker purple instead of the granulation. You can see it especially in these two. You see that, like they look like almost little dots. That is the granulation of this color. So down here you're seeing the yellow come through. Isn't that interesting? And then on this Bork's Pink, you've got all of these really yellow, bright pink, almost a duller purple here. It's really lovely. And then you've got the Verditer, well, Gray of Gray first, and then Verditer. Look how gorgeous those grays are. Wow. I have to say that I would not use Verditer by itself at all, because it's just way too intense, and like the clarity thing is just, it's boggling my mind actually. However, I would use all of the mixes here. I would use the mixes here. So it might be one of those colors that goes on my palette, not for its singularity, but for what it does to the other colors. I don't have a color that gives me all of these kind of earthy grays, and I can see these like in mountainsides, in flowers. I mean, these are really lovely garden colors. Even these colors are lovely garden, but I like these, feel a little more dusty and a little more vintage, just like this cherry blossom color does to me. I am impressed with the Bork's Parrot Pink because of how it mixes with the colors again. Again, that is the mix by itself. I doubt that I would use it by itself, but I would definitely use it with my grays, and I can't imagine what it would do with Buff Titanium. I would like to see it mixed with the green as well. I wonder what would happen with that. And this Trumpet Vine, I just really like the earthiness feel of it. It kind of feels like a Venetian red as an undertone that gives you like, almost like think of a brick red instead of something nice and bright like the Bork's pink offers. And the cherry blossom is just really a muted color already. And I know that it would mix with any color on my palette and be beautiful. So I hope you were inspired by these 5 weird colors, and I hope you give them a try. I will leave links in the video description box. I know I bought mine from Dick Blick because they allow you to buy singular colors of Holbeins. These 3 colors came in the Holbein sets, like the bird set and the flower set, and I just picked individual colors, which is how I was able to buy them from Blick. I hope these colors inspire you to think of how you would use them and how often, and what would you use them for? Would they become a staple of yours? You know, those are the questions that I like to ask when I'm exploring paint and color mixing. I hope this has given you a look into colors that maybe you wouldn't normally use, but are really exciting when mixed with others. If you were inspired by today's weird colors, please leave me a comment. If you haven't subscribed, please click the button. And as always, thanks so much for watching.